Hello, and welcome to Fridays at 4 on twitch.tv/DDOstream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan. I'll be with you for the next hour hanging out. I'm going to be doing a bunch of questing today. Don't have a ton of news, although do we have some things to talk about, including a big game update for next week. Not so much in terms of change lists, but should have an impact on game performance. Tell you a little bit about what we did this week as well. I'll be here for any Q&A you have. You can welcome me back. I wasn't here last Friday because I had a bad cold and cough and I was pretty sick, and I'm fine today. But if you do, I'm still a little stuffy and everything. You know, just the kind of final remnant of getting over a bad cold. So if I sound a little bit stuffy, well, there's a reason for that. It's because I am. But otherwise, we're all doing good here on this Friday, heading into a big weekend. So I don't have a lot of news, but let's get to what I do have. First thing I want to mention is that this is a double bonus points sale period. We kicked that off yesterday. That goes through September 28th. So if you've been waiting for double bonus points, now is your time. That runs through September 28th. The other thing is this is a good weekend for Reaper XP. We have a 10% Reaper XP boost that's running through September 21st. So run Reaper, get 10% more XP. But otherwise, the biggest piece that we're working on is a game update for next week. And I believe that's 75.4? 75.4, I think. Yeah, 75.4. And it really is a series of smaller content and other bug fixes. We've got some work going in for that armor of the Dragon Cult that's going to be in the VIP reward track coming up pretty soon. We have at least some bits and pieces, I think, of our next Patron's Coffer that's going to get in there. But then the other big piece is a couple of targeted game performance bits. So you may recall within the past couple of weeks, we talked about removing certain properties from a bunch of physical objects, frills, rocks, things like that. And a bunch of that work went into our most recent patch, but we're doing further work on this next one. And the reason that matters is it really goes to detecting and communication. Some people are like, oh, you're fixing lag by moving rocks. Well, no, that's not what we're doing. But what it really gets down to is a concept. This is a technical term, at least that I have been hearing people use. So, but for example, you basically have raycasting happening on things that it shouldn't. And so what we're doing is we're removing that property from all these objects so that it no longer weighs down our really pathing and other kind of communication detection systems, because it's not necessary to have that much of the stuff. And by dramatically removing that, we have been improving game performance. We've been looking at charts over the past, months now, really, but in recent weeks we could compare, say, where we were 2 weeks ago from last week, and last week to this week, and then at least what we're testing so far this week for next week. And we are making progress. And I think you've seen that in many cases on the game worlds this past week. Another thing we did on Wednesday of this past week, and I know I'm kind of derivating from next week's game update with this, but another piece that we did this week was related to a technical process called striping. And it's really just about optimizing your server environment to be as efficient as it can be. And we were able to identify a whole bunch of work that we could do to improve that environment. And that was done on Wednesday. And since Wednesday, we've seen some good data coming back from those changes as well. So we are making progress. But besides really phase 3, I guess, of this raycast and detection issue, we're also going to have a significant game performance fix in for next week's patch related to hirelings. Yeah, you can blame hirelings for at least a little bit of lag, and the reason for that really has to do with trying to path to you when they're not able to easily do so. And we've been able to determine a significant performance improvement that we can make there. So that is in there as well. So we do have a couple of good things in for next week's patch. Otherwise, it's fixing a few stuck spots, fixing a couple of quest issues, and some of the stuff I already talked about. So not a huge patch in terms of the number of changes being made, but a significant one, hopefully, in terms of our game performance work. The culmination of a lot of work we've done in the last couple of weeks for sure. So for the raid preview, I would expect that to be sometime here in October. I don't have any further details about when we're going to do the raid, though, on the Mania. But it would be something like sometime next month. And that really, I think, takes us to the news. The other piece I would just mention quick, and I'm going to drop a second.
Hello.
And we drop the URL in the chat. We had an interview that went live on our YouTube channel this week. This was done a few weeks ago by Tavern Tales right here on DDO Stream. But if you missed that stream or didn't catch it, Tavern Tales did a particularly good interview with Knockback about bringing Lemordia to life, getting into the lore and story and Dungeons and Dragons-ness of the Chill of Ravenloft. So if you're into tabletop, if you're into editions and lore and setting manuals and why did we do this rather than that, and why do we pick this monster and this setting, and a whole bunch of questions get answered by Knockback in that interview. So I would recommend it. Am I feeling better? Yeah, basically. I mean, I last Friday I was so sick there was no way I could be on camera. I was a mess. And by Monday I was feeling basically fine. And I've just kind of had a minor getting over it all week, really, or a little bit of stuffiness and what have you. I have a bit of a migraine today, but other than that, I'm doing just fine. And the other thing I did do, though, is I spent a bunch of time in game this week, and so let me swap scenes, and let's get in game. Let me show you what I've been up to. I did a thing. And that thing is, I crafted up my first legendary Lemordia item here. Swapped over my sentient gem. All this I put in the final slot last night. And got my rubies and such and the other augments. So this is where it is right now on this item. And this will be the first time questing with it after making it yesterday. I've been building this one up for a couple of weeks now, running the sagas to get the various gems and things in it. And after, I guess, 4 sagas and about an hour and a half spent in the wilderness, I got more than enough to make this with some leftovers. So that is currently what we're going to be rocking here today, and we'll see how this thing does. This brought up a question that I had. Not on this item, but on a different item, because the other piece I did is I swapped out my level 31 armor for this modern Gravekeeper's armor, really because the armor bonus was something like 13 higher, but and the natural armor bonus doesn't hurt. Good luck is all good too. I don't have anything slotted in yet, because I just made the other thing, so I'm out of things to slot. I did put in a Solar Gem of Double Strike to give myself a 15% artifact boost to Double Strike, which now brings this character's Double Strike sitting to about 25%, which will get better, I think, because I think I'm going to put in the 17% augment here from the Lemordia crafting, but I got that. So that's next. That's next, is I'm going to be getting some stuff in this, slotted into this armor. And I also, as you can see, I've got the Wraithborn Emerald in there. And that's the ghostly one. Sort of like ethereal, basically. That's where we're rocking right now for this character. So you can see I'm sitting at only 62 strength, but if I give myself rage and then use my legendary Severed Tentacle, you'll see that'll pop up to 78, and so that's not too bad. minute at a time for 5 minutes, but it's not too bad. And that's really where I'm rocking right now. So let's run a quest or two, and just sort of get through things. Meanwhile, I will be taking the rest of the chat, but I think I basically got to the news. If there's any kind of big piece of news that I don't know about, well, I haven't gotten there yet. The way I'm playing this character though is I'm situationally using the Barbarian Rages, but otherwise I'm mostly just using my action boost haste and my might and order until I run out of those, and then I'm swapping over to the rage, unless I want the healing effect I get from my rage as well. I've done that sometimes for the boss fights, for example. It's proven more useful. I have been running on Elite. I have not been running on Reaper. And that's because I tried going in on Reaper. And for the most part, I can do okay until I don't. And when I don't is some particularly spiky battles, like the Otyugh and the part 1 of that one quest. I just get splatted. I don't know how to get past that thing. So, yeah. So I've been running it on Elite. That's what I've been doing. But I wanted to start running it on Reaper, and I guess we're probably getting there with a little bit of the work I'm doing on this character. But I am overall really enjoying playing this character, and I've got some good things I'm doing. But, so I guess I'm curious, what are you running this stuff at? Are you handling Reaper just fine? And how are you handling that Otyugh fight? Because pretty much it just takes away all my charisma, and then I am helpless, and then it splats me. So, is the answer just a whole bunch of chugging lesser potions, or what? Hirelings are almost useless in Reaper. Well, I mean, that's yeah, working as intended. But I don't know, almost useless would be the goal, but they're not balanced for Reaper for sure. We are not going to be Crystal Coving this year. There's been a discussion really on the forums and elsewhere about it, but it's what people are saying, what we were talking about earlier, which is that game performance is our top priority. It has been our top priority for some time now. You know, we have all this transfers and other things happening, but fixing this game performance issue is an all-hands-on-deck thing and does not stop until it is solved, and that has been the case for a while now. And that means when it comes time to doing something like, well, should we bring back Crystal Cove for the fun weekend? We tend to bring it in September. The answer is no. And the reason for that is because it's the performance issues would really be deleterious to the experience in the Crystal Cove mining challenge. People have talked about that on the forums, how torch placement right now in the challenges themselves during these lag spikes and that is not particularly good. And Crystal Cove is notoriously known for at least having some impact on game performance. You know, anything you do, it's always a balancing act with MMOs. Questing has the biggest impact on game performance, you know? But, you know, and we've done a lot of work on Crystal Cove, but I think there's a recognition that kind of heavy challenge use, particularly involving a lot of torch pathing in that, would not be the kind of thing you would want to encourage when you're really all hands on deck for game performance work. So, no.
Explorer lies here, half buried in the snow. The note clutched in his hand tells of a deadly cold valley ahead, and a cave sealed by 3 ward stones scattered throughout the valley. A piercing cold clings to the floor of this valley. Stay up above the ground to avoid the cold's frigid bite.
There is also the piece that, you know, we've been working on quite a few other things and have not done anything to Crystal Cove in some time either. So I think the intent would be, well, let's not do Cove right now, obviously, but then let's also think about, well, what do we want to do with Cove when we do want to bring it back. However, and we know that it's true that Night Revels also does historically have some impact on game performance, although far less than it used to, now that we no longer have the public landscape farming in the same way that it used to be a public space. Now that it's all instance in that, Night Revels is far less significant in terms of its impact, and has been for a while now. But Night Revels will be coming back in October. It's one of our most popular events, and so we want to make sure people get a chance to enjoy that again this year. Don't know on the timing, though.
The first of the ward stones stops glowing. 2 to go.
I don't know, Dark Wolfer. I would imagine a guild name change would probably be prioritized under emergency account support and other important transfer-related things, but if the reason you need your guild changed is due to one of those things, then perhaps that would receive additional priority. Long term, the way we intend to solve guild name changes is by selling an item in the DDO store and Lochura store, because both games are in this position. Where right now, because of all the transfers and things, we have a lot of name changing going on. But we don't have the ability to just sell that item right now. So I would say the likelihood of you submitting a ticket, just because, if it's not related to any kind of other situation that would require a name change, like if it's just because you want it,
The magical barrier
that may need to
fades.
wait until we
Deactivate the
are in a
second
position
ward stone.
to
1 left.
offer that store item. However, if your concern is related to a transfer issue or something like that, they'll get to it. They'll get to it. I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. If you mean, is it a 5-minute change to change a guild name? I don't think it's necessarily that. I don't know what the actual process would be. I imagine someone could go into a database somewhere and do it. But the intention is that we want people to self-service guild name changes, I think is the main point. So, we'll do that work until we have the ability for people to do it themselves.
A frost whirling bursts through the ice and attacks. This valley is...
But then also, anyone who received a guild name change does get that automatic rename in that too, so... So presumably this would just be for aesthetic reasons, personal aesthetic reasons rather than anything else.
The third ward stone has been deactivated, allowing you to access a cave at the far north side of the valley. Though there will
No,
surely be more frost
the
along the way.
Fae-themed event that was referenced, I don't know, producer's letter? Wasn't that right? Is in fact going to be happening. And we will have... the goal on that one isn't to give you a whole lot of info. Like a lot of our events like that, the intention is to allow for some level of surprise, perhaps. Think about the way we did a Lithid, for example. But, yeah. That's happening.
A massive petrel swoops down from the skies, intent on making you into a meal.
Yes, hands for eyes. We do. If you experience a tell that is offensive or something like that, please do report it to us. You can do that through help.standingstonegames.com. We do have in-game GM's team that'll respond to those reports and deal with things as necessary. I'm pretty sure Vin Diesel has nothing to do with our Fae event.
The frigid winds can't reach you here deep underground, but the caverns rumble with the distant sounds of more frostworms.
My understanding is we do not currently offer a guild name change in the DDO store. Back in the day, there was some kind of launcher workflow that would allow you to utilize the old DDO store premium feature list or something like that. And then for a long time, it's really just been a function of customer service tickets to do manual processing and things like that. So the idea, as I understand it, is to more formally support guild name changes long term. People can just do it themselves by getting a quick rename item and taking care of it that way. And then for people who undergo a forced rename, whether it's due to a transfer or something like that, there's always going to be that free rename available whenever you get a name change. So this is separate from that.
This is the same type of magic barrier you've seen before. There must be another ward stone nearby.
It's true, I don't think we see it. I mean, it's not like the most purchased item for sure. I mean, it doesn't exist at all right now. But yeah, this isn't going to be about making a ton of money. This is about really facilitating a user experience outside of the customer support portal process as much as anything.
Frostworm eggs. Destroy them to make this island less hazardous. But beware, the rumble of the ground tells you that frostworms must be nearby.
Well, that's why I'm not getting it. I hit the wrong one. Okay. Yes, the Medusa does in fact have an extra named chest, for sure. One of the things I've been enjoying running through these is farming the ingredients. The optionals have been pretty consistently good for me. I would say that I was a little worried when I knew that I had to get 100 of those wilderness only ingredients. But thanks to a handful of people on Shadowdale here this week, we knocked it out of the park in an hour and a half. Just handling the purple bosses as a group. I put up a rando LFM, I don't know what day it was, Tuesday, Wednesday this week or something like that, thinking, well, okay, let's get started on farming and just see how much we can get. I had 102 or whatever about an hour and a half later. We just had a group, went into the wilderness area, hit the 3 purple names if they were there, and go back to the public space, reset the wilderness, go back in and do it that way. And I got all 100 I needed in an hour and a half doing that, so. And that included time for a couple of bio breaks. Things like that. Some time spent not going in because we were just waiting for the LFM to fill. Yes. One of the times I went in playing stupid on this section of the quest, and I just was like, alright, let me just take care of all the eggs, and then I'll just fight all the enemies. And, oof, I had to recall out, because there was no recovering from that one. You get all 4 of these on you, especially like, say, Reaper difficulty? No thank you. Yeah, Elminster, I have, so Elminster is asking me for comment about an article about Wizards of the Coast, which I'm not going to do, because I don't do that. I don't provide off-the-cuff comments on our business partners. But yeah, I've seen that article. It was wildly, there was, you know, hopefully you've seen the most recent version with the correction in it.
You found the final word.
Yes, so when is the next round of, quote, garbage collection going to happen? Next Wednesday. That is part of what I was talking about for next Wednesday's game update. That'll be on Wednesday. That's a big part of the game update for next week. And the garbage collection is the same thing as the rock thing. So, some people have perhaps misconstrued it a bit because we had a thing about, like, if you saw any difference, it would be that some rocks, you know, got misplaced. And we did, in fact, find a few of those, and a couple of those are in the patch as well. I know Flimsy took a crack at getting some of that done this week, and commented on the forums to that effect. Kill this thing. I noticed the bosses in here on Elite are, at least for me, about what, 180 to 250,000 hit points. So I want to be able to, I keep forgetting to do this. I keep forgetting I've got that extra plus 3 damage if I just click a button. Plus 3 base damage. Oh, so to the point about the rocks, is it perhaps got misconstrued as us messing with rocks, but it's not actually what we were doing. We had not, I mean, it was only about rocks because some of the objects in question were rocks that had more raycast objects, or recipients, or whatever. Things that were picked up by raycast than were necessary. But it wasn't really the movement of the rocks, it's the other part, so. The moving of the rocks is a byproduct of the work that we did.
The final Wardstone's magic fades. Now you can advance further into the cave.
Am I talking to myself? Oh. I don't know. Oh, the DM audio. Yeah. So I actually, a lot of times I watch this stuff because it's a little hard to watch your own stuff sometimes. But, I enjoyed this work. I think when I recorded it, I was like, hey, you know, that's what I wanted. And then I see it in here in the game, I'm like, hey, you know, that's what I wanted. So like it or dislike it, I can at least say that it aligns with what I was going for. So I am pretty happy with how it turned out. I like the timid voice, but I had some real recording problems, unfortunately. Fidelity, audio issues. Someday I want to go back and maybe redo it, but then it's hard to redo something like that. And kind of make it better, rather than worse. Ooh. I didn't even notice that I was incapped. Was not looking at health. Should do. Oh no! Well, okay. Let me do this the easy way then. That was on me. That was a stupid death. That was a stupid death. Solved by doing this. I go into my unquenchable rage and then I start getting my hit points back. So when my Albereth fails me, I've got the rage button. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, but so far I'd say this weapon's doing all right. Oh, while I'm at it, let's see if I get some loot luck, huh? See if I get some nice stream luck. No whammies. Easy enough. Okay. I think that counts as a whammy, though. It's true. As a matter of fact, I can thank you for that, Druid's Fire. I've officially moved into my Albereth era, and so my Bulwark era is over.
This snowbound retreat must be where Elise is hiding.
At least for now. I still kind of like Bulwark better, but Albereth is not dying as much.
The cabin is barely warmer than that of the tundra outside, yet you can feel an aura of warmth radiating from a corner of the room. Elise finishes telling her story. She's agreed to help you defeat Dr. Mordenheim, but first, she needs something from you.
Okay, so a little bit of a build talk here while I'm here doing the show. Here's my short-term plan for the numbers side of this character. I need to get my stuff slotted with Lamortia slots. I need to probably... I've got a bunch of items that, like, have... Well, that one's got a colorless in it. But I've got a bunch of items... Yeah, like this one doesn't have a moon slot, doesn't have a green slot slotted. I've got a couple that don't have any colorless slotted. I don't know, where are they now? Now, of course, I'm trying to show it on camera. I can't find it. Another green slot. So green in particular. Yeah. So I just need to basically slot up all this stuff. The other bit is I need to deal with my... I don't have anything in my goggle slot. Nothing. I got nothing currently equipped on this character or in my bank that does this character any good in a goggle slot. So I don't even know why I have intelligence. I think it was just something I've had equipped for a while. And then I want to fix out my boots. I don't have any good boots either. I could go for a Lamortia slot on that as well. I do have some boots I could use. And I've had some other boots, but they overlap too many other benefits of the other named items here. So at the moment, I only have this on at all. It's because of that 13% dodge. And it's what's getting me my main dodge max chance, which is 13%. So... But that's the only reason I got those boots on. So you figure I'm going to swap out the boots, get a goggle slot, get the armor stuff slotted, and then figure out what to do for green or colorless slots. You know, what am I actually going to put in these things? And that gets to my question to you. I don't have a bunch of emeralds that are any good. So what should I be going for? Should I just find colorless slots and put that in? What do you put into all your greens? Blindness immunity, that's a good one. Yep, I will do that. So when you activate Barbarian Rage, you lose your Stalwart Defense activity. When I've got Stalwart Defense on, I've got my 2,500 hit points. Raid set augments? Yeah, well... Okay, but that's not gonna happen. Yeah, that's I like that dash a lot. That's the lead the charge there. I get a lot of use out of lead the charge. And when I use my Unbridled Fury, it keeps reprocking and reprocking. If you keep an eye on the damage I'm doing, you'll see that lead the charge will sometimes knock, 20,000 plus damage when I crit and stuff on it. So it's well worth keeping. Yeah.
You get a sinking feeling as you once again enter the caves beneath Schloss. The servitors that had once been kept safely behind the electrical barriers now wander the caves.
That's from Dragon. Well, what is that from? Yeah, Dragon Lord.
During your escape, you'll need to make your way past them.
So, and the other thing is, it gets triple the distance if you have Adrenaline active when you use it. So it'll actually just go in a line. It'll do at least a couple second auto knockdown of everything that's not knockdown immune. And it just works pretty well. And then I can reclose the distance with that leading the charge, etc. So I'm kind of digging what my Dragon Lord here is dishing out. And honestly, I don't think that damage is too bad. Although, I mean, I guess I get the point about no, it should just be a Sword of Shadow. But I don't know. I've got the heroic Sword of Shadow. That's the one I tend to use for when I'm leveling, but oh, here we go. This is where do I want it? I want it right there. Okay. Yes, a professional voice actor will be replacing the DM audio in that one quest and the couple of lines I do in the minor quest. And that'll, I believe, happen when we have our raid release. When the raid is released, that is going to be part of the VO session schedule by which that gets corrected. And I'll be sad to see it go, but my ego will be properly, I'll be fine. I got to do it, and it was awesome. So. I do not have a timetable for 64 to 64-bit transfers. It'll be a while yet. There's a bunch of considerations we're going to have to sort through. As people have stated, well, do we require packing? Do we require... We can't really require packing, right? Because people are going to want to leave their guild and move some of their members, and you can't... there's a whole bunch of technical considerations once we start opening up 64 to 64-bit server transfers more widely, depending on how we want to do it. So we have to figure all that out. But really, first, what's going to happen is we'll be doing the Ghost Worlds. And the Ghost Worlds are on track to open within the next couple of weeks. I don't have an exact ETA right now. My understanding is that work is being done even this weekend to set things up. Setting things up, you don't just set them up and then turn them on and then open it to the public. I mean, ultimately you do that, but there's a bunch of work between those, up to and including all the work to actually turn them into Ghost Worlds, which for the most part is about disabling NPCs and reward turn-ins, doing a bunch of various settings on the world environment, things like that. So all that work has to happen yet, but my understanding is we're probably in the range of we'll probably have more news to share within the next couple of weeks, would be how I would describe that.
Door opened when you cut the power to direct. There's a monster behind this door.
And that's when the 32-bit worlds will reopen for transfers again. They'll open as Ghost Worlds, and the intention is to leave them as Ghost Worlds for a long period of time, something like at least 2 years. And then we have said we wanted to do another round of 64-bit to 64-bit transfers. That's going to, like I said, be somewhat of a complex process. We'll have to figure out how we want to do that. I think it may be an opt-in period where it's just like, yeah, okay, you are going to have to pack, and that means, you know, don't move a character if it's going to mess up a guild or something. But that'll be your choice. But I'm also not sure. I know that we've looked into what options we might have, and it's really the main thing though is we need to get the Ghost Worlds open first. How do 32-bit characters get to the bank to transfer? You will log in, and then you will go to the bank. The concept of a ghost world, and the reason we're using that term versus what we've historically been calling dark worlds, which do not permit logging, is that a ghost world does permit logging. What it doesn't allow is further... Well, in general, the plan is shut off as much as we can in terms of actually being able to quest or do anything gameplay-wise on the ghost worlds. They're going to have a very small footprint in the data center because, you know, you have to scale servers to various things, and this is not meant for gameplay. So this is meant really just to log in, go to the bank, maybe sort whatever items or whatever you need to sort, clear out your guild chest, etc., and then pack and transfer off. And so the environment is being set up to facilitate that kind of more minimal footprint. And that's what we'll be opening up within the next couple of weeks.
That's strange. The body of the giant flesh construct you fought here is nowhere to be seen.
Okay, where am I headed? I am this way.
The elevator takes you to the upper floor of Schloss.
Yeah, I actually kind of thought I would maybe record a version of this quest just for my own goofy benefit. Oh, I need my Frogo. Help me search. Oh, this is just the note, though. I don't care about the notes. Because I'm capped, I don't need the XP. You're not getting a chest. But yeah, I'm going for all the optionals, though. That's for sure. Yeah, so speaking of music, one of the things I'm putting on my to-do list for the coming, let's say, month and a half, is to work on our soundtracks.
From a distance, this bookshelf seems to be
and get both DDO and Lotro soundtracks taken care of.
You're not so sure. Most of these books look like they're glued in place.
For green augments, when not doing raid augs, I'll use whatever you lack on gear, like Undying Sapphire. So that's the thing is, I don't need Undying. Because I had thought about the Undying Sapphire. I actually have that in my bank, but I don't need it because I'm getting a greater Undying limit of the same bonus type from something else. The Draconic Soul Gem, that's a thought. Festive Augments I've got covered elsewhere. That's why I don't need any more Festive Augments, because I've already got Wisdom, Strength, Con, Dex. And I think those are the only 4 that are out that are relevant to my build. Well, it's a good idea, though. I'll have to look into that Draconic Soul Gem, though. Maybe that is the right answer. Or start doing raid set gear. But you know, I've never been a huge... I made this item. And I'll be, you know, doing the questing work to create enough augment slots for that armor as well. And I'm, depending on how it goes, I'm considering I could do boots as well. I could solve my boot problem myself. And it's not that I don't have tons of named boots. I've got a bunch of named boots. It's just that all the named boots that I would normally wear for a fighter type, I've got those benefits already elsewhere. So there really isn't any point to me, say, like wearing... Sorry, the name is skipping my head right now. There's a couple of big boots that I always wear. Oh. Okie dokie.
You enter the room ready to confront the Baron in person. At first, it appears to be empty. Then you spot a laboratory.
Any news on the Night Revels? You had read Crystal Cove not happening. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Crystal Cove is not planned for this year. The Night Revels event is. It'll be happening later in October. Don't have an exact date to give right away. It won't be first thing in October. I don't know. If I were just doing a rough guess, I'd say we might target something like the 8th or 15th on it. But we'll see where we land. Ooh, Sapphire of Great Well. Yeah, the Sapphire of Greater Heroism might work. Cursed Blood would always work. Yeah, alright, well, maybe what you're saying is I need to do a little wiki digging and just go find augments that'll work. I was surprised, though, at how many open green slots I had and how relatively few emeralds I had in my bank. I guess I just haven't really been getting a lot. This probably would have been the week for Crystal Cove if it was coming out. But, like I say, it's not this year, sadly. Our focus is on game performance and must be focused on that above anything else. We have, though, made progress this week. Severlin was showing a bunch of people some of the, I guess you could call it a lag chart. You know, some of the data is showing server instability and which instances are in a thrashing state and things like that. And you could really just see the marked improvement week over week that we've been able to achieve, along with what you have left to do. So. But it's huge. So. We will, and hopefully with next week's game update, we'll have a much, even more significant improvement. No, so I mean I appreciate the kind of forum thought of it being less players rather than the work we did, but no, we're talking about data charts here, not stuff like that. This is properly weighed, as they would say. And then I mentioned earlier, right, about the so-called striping work that took place this Wednesday as well. That was another thing that we have been able to track some measurable improvement as a result of as well. Okay. Well, I mean, someone's clearly angry in chat, and we do appreciate that frustration. Just to be clear, no one is saying that there is no lag. No one has ever said that, nor will anyone ever say that. Not on my watch. So this concept that we don't think you're having lag is fantasy. Players like to say there is no lag, but we've never, nor will we ever say such things. Because sadly there will always be lag. But what we're dealing with now, and what we've been making improvement on over weeks, that is in fact seeing some measurable improvement, and we will see more next week. I would say this Baron fight as well has actually proven to be one of the more difficult fights for me to manage on Reaper as well. And again, this one is just a matter of the, 3 times 164,000 or whatever. I guess I've seen it higher than that, I thought, but... Oh, 164 for the third fight. A bit of an attrition battle on this one for me. But as long as I can kind of keep my health up, I can just sort of let the hirelings help out for as long as they want to help out. And then let them sit for a while and take a little break. I get low, hop in my rage, then I'll swap over. Now when I get the rage, you'll see I lose something like, actually only 46 hit points, really. It's not that bad. But I gain 10 strength, and then I pop, if I need to, I can pop my Titan Blood and bring that up again.
Paid the price for helping Dr. Mordenheim with her murderous scheme. Time to move on to finding the unbreakable heart.
Yes, exactly, Dark Wolfer. To the specific point of where we're at in game performance, the frequency of the long-term lag spikes, the ones where you're in a dungeon or whatever and having to wait it out, minute and a half, 2 minutes or whatever, has gone down significantly. I can't assign a percentage or weight or number to it, but significantly. And then the work we're going to do next week will cut that even more. But that's what we've seen, is that instead of it being just pretty much all night every night once the population gets to X amount with garbage collection and such, that it's been not lasted as long, not happened as often. And that's what we're going for, is to make that 0 as much as we can. The other piece, though, we did identify as part of this work is the second piece that's in next week's patch, and that is the one I'm talking about, hireling pathing as well. We were able to find a pretty heavy game performance concern related to hireling pathing, and that may be something you would experience in a group like what we're seeing here. If I'm in a dungeon where the hirelings are stuck, unable to get through a door or piece of physics or whatever, and they're trying to get to me, you may well see that sort of thrashing, rubber band style stuff as a result of that. I actually do not have enough time to run another quest here, so I think we're gonna spend the last few moments just going around the wilderness area. It's true. It's a year without a Crystal Cove is sad, but it is unfortunately where we have found ourselves. That is a good question, Dark Wolfer. I have heard it described to me as a hireling issue, which would, to me, indicate that is probably not the wider issue of, say, pets and summons and other kind of artificer iron defenders, and ranger wolves in particular. But, so I think it's just a hireling thing. Now, that would be both permanent hirelings, store hirelings, and basically, it would probably include anything that has a summoned hireling hotbar. So any one of your kind of pets, like an iron defender, would probably be included as well. Although I'm not sure exactly on that one. Yeah, but things like summon the skeletons, the oozes, anything like that isn't really gonna be impacted. Well, I am not really seeing the rares here yet, but we're just about done with the show. Anyone got any kind of final questions for me? So that's what I'm going to be up to, is really doing this, getting these couple of sagas and such thing done to get my augment slots. So then I'm going to be popping over to Thrain and doing that. Eventually, this character is the one that is going to get raid flagged. So that, I suppose, is a piece to do either on camera or off. Which is that I'm going to try to... This character is going to sit at cap for a while at level 34 and be my raider on Shadowdale too. So perhaps we'll see some of that on stream. Could Crystal Cove be made into a permanent fixture? It, in theory, could. You would just need to create the permanent land space, or just leave, frankly, the world property on. But, I think it would just be a question of, well, it was designed as an event, so if you make it not an event, then why? But you could. No, I am not running the purple-named fight solo on camera anytime soon, I assure you, because that 1.5 million to 2.5 million hit points, I can do it with a group. That's what I said. I don't need to, though, because I did it with a group. I got my... Well, actually, I do need 3. Last I checked here. Yeah, I've got 99 bleak wires, so I suppose I could use 1. But I got it done. I got it done in an hour and a half, just putting up a LFM and doing first come, first serve, any warm body want, come join me. And I just did that this week on Shadowdale, so There was plenty of people coming and going, interested in grouping up to hit these rares on Shadowdale this week. So, good luck if that's you. If that's not, if you've got other plans, hope you're having a good time. Take advantage if you're into it with that 10% Reaper XP boost running through Sunday. Otherwise, I will see you next Friday for more Fridays at 4. Have fun, everyone. Have a great weekend.